You notice. That's Dear devotees, good morning. Welcome to Srimad Bhagavatam class. And continue reading the fifth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. We're concluding today with chapter 17, reading verse 24. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskrityam Narottamam Rachaiva Devim Saraswati Vyasa Tato Jayam Udirayat Nashta Prayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamashlake Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtake. Nirmitam kari api karma parvanim mayam janoyam gunasarga mohita naveda nishtarana yoga mandasa tasmai namaste vilayodayatmane yam nirmitam kari api karma Nirmitam karyapi karma parvanim mayam janoyam gunasarga mohita na veda nistarana yoga mangyasa tasmai namaste vilayodayatmane. Anyone would like to chant? We continue word to word. Yat, by whom, nirmitam, created, karhi api, at any time, karma parvanim, which ties the knots of fruitive activity, mayam, the illusory energy, janaha, a person, ayam, this, gunasarga mohita, bewildered by the three modes of material nature, na, not, veda, knows, nishtarana yogam, the process of getting out of material entanglement, Agyasa Sum Tasmai, unto him the Supreme. Namaha, respectful obeisances. Te, unto you. Vilaya Udaya Atmane, in whom everything is annihilated and from whom everything is again manifested. Translation. The illusory energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead binds all of us, conditioned souls, to this material world. Therefore, without being favored by him, persons like us cannot understand how to get out of that illusory energy. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Lord, who is the cause of creation and annihilation. Purport. Krishna clearly states in Bhagavad Gita 7:14, Aivihi Shagunamayi Mamamaya Dvataya Mamavaya Prapadyante Manayam Etam Tarantite. This divine energy of mind, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. All conditioned souls, working within the illusory energy of the Lord, consider the body to be the self, and thus they continuously wander throughout the universe, taking birth in different species of life and creating more and more problems. Sometimes they become disgusted with the problems and seek out a process by which they can get out of this entanglement. Unfortunately, such so-called research workers are unaware of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his illusory energy, and thus all of them work only in darkness, never finding a way out. So-called scientists are advanced research scholars are ludicrously trying to find the cause of life. They take no notice of the fact that life is already being produced. What will be their credit if they find out the chemical composition of life? All the chemicals are nothing but different transformations of the five elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 2:20, the living entity is never created. Najayate mriyata kadachin. There are five gross material elements and three minor material elements: mind, intelligence, and ego. And there are eternal living entities. The living entity desires a certain type of body, and by the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that body is created from material nature, which is nothing but a kind of machine handled by the Supreme Lord. The Lord gives the living entity a particular type of mechanical body, and the living entity must work with it according to the law of fruitive activities. Fruitive activities are described in this verse, karma parvanim mayam. The living entity is seated on a machine, the body, and according to the order of the Supreme Lord, he operates the machine. This is the secret of transmigration of the soul from one body to another. The living entity thus becomes entangled in fruitive activities in this material world. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 15:7, Mana Shasthani Driyani Prakritisthani Karshati. The living entity is struggling very hard against the six senses, which include the mind. In all the activities of creation and annihilation, the living entity is entangled in fruitive activities, which are executed by the illusory energy Maya. He is exactly like a computer handled by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The so-called scientists say that nature acts independently, but they cannot explain what nature is. Nature is nothing but a machine operated by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When one understands the operator, his problems of life are solved. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 7:19, Bahunam janmanam mante jnanavam prapadyante vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sadurlabham. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. A sane man, therefore, surrenders to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus gets out of the clutches of the illusory energy Maya. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 5th canto, 17th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Descent of the River Ganges. Verse again. Yam nirmitam karhi apikarma parvanim mayam jano yam guna sargamohita naveda nistarana yogam angya sam tasmai namaste vilayo dayat mane. The illusory energy of the Supreme Personality of God, it binds all of us conditioned souls to this material world. Therefore, without being favored by him, persons like us cannot understand how to get out of that illusory energy. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Lord, who is the cause of creation and annihilation. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Vishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayana Bhagadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Sha Shri Gurum Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shivitakam Shamscha Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchan Gaurange Radhe Ravaneshware Vrishabhanu Sutadevi Pranamami Hare Priye Panchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuve Cha Patitanam Bhavadebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravamani Pracharine Nirvashasha Shunnavadi Pashchatyade Shatadine Krishna Prishta Kaleshman Hare Krishna devotees. So we're concluding this chapter with Lord Shiva, one of the Mahajans, one of the founder acharyas of one of the four sampradayas, Sampradaya, has given us an important lesson, and that is that if we want to, let's read the verse again. He explains that illusory energy of the Supreme Personality of God binds all of us, conditioned soul, to this material world. Therefore, without being favored by him, persons like us cannot understand how to get out of that illusory energy. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Lord, who is the cause of creation and annihilation. It's very interesting because Lord Shiva is actually a very enlightened soul. He knows the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He knows the truth. He can enlighten anyone in that tattva. And yet he's exhibiting great humility, as every great Vaishnava does. And he understands his subordinate position, his infinite position as a servant of the Lord. Although he's in charge for annihilation, Lord Shiva is Gunavatar. He's responsible for the destruction of the material universe. He knows where's this strength, power, and empowerment, and the impetus is coming from. Who is the original cause of all, right? As Brahma Samhita says, Sarva Karana Karanam, the cause of all causes. So Lord Shiva very nicely, very clearly understands his position, and hence he offers his respects to that person from whom his attention is never diverted. He always remembers Krishna, never forgets him. When he meditates in Kailas, he either meditates and chants Ram, 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 one or the other way. He's always fixed. His mind is always fixed on the lotus feet of the Supreme. And also he wants to deliver others who take shelter of him. He wants to deliver them to the same lotus feet. He wants to bring them to that same lotus feet of the Lord. In a great song that Lord Shiva sang in the fourth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, he starts to describe the features of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It's a beautiful prayer, one of my favorite ones in Srimad Bhagavatam. Where he starts from awe and reverence, and then he goes to the description of the actual form of the Lord. And despite the fact that he seemingly describes the Vishnu form, the four-handed form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and his weapons, his ornaments, and everything, and of course his bodily features, the words that he is using actually describe that he's referring to Krishna, the, the form of two-handed, the two-handed, the Shamasundar form. Srila Prabhupada explains that in the purport when he describes his lotus eyes, that the word that he's using for description of the eyes is actually very commonly used when Krishna is giving his glances to the gopis of Vrindavan. So like that. So there are actually inner hints of who actually Lord Shiva worships. And he finishes with the lotus feet. He starts, usually we start our darshan with the lotus feet, and then we raise our glance to look at the lotus face of the Lord. So that's the etiquette of either looking at the anyone superior, really, starting from any kind of senior devotee, spiritual master, and going same way to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yet Lord Shiva describes it from the top to bottom. The reason he does it is actually uh, the same etiquette, and that is he finishes with what which is most important. He finishes with the toes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He describes them like they shining as millions of moons, and he explains that these lotus feet can give you the liberation. These lotus feet is just they can give you the ultimate goal of life, and you have to stick to these lotus feet, to the instructions, and to surrender to these lotus feet. So he fixes our mind on the lotus feet. So we start with the top, and then we finish at the bottom. He says, "Now grab them, grab these lotus feet in your mind, in your meditation, in your intelligence, in every let all your senses be fixed on that very most important object of meditation." So this is Lord Shiva. He's in inconceivable compassion that he's exhibiting even to the most fallen, like the Bhutas, the ghosts, and all sort of creatures that are in Tamaguna. He's still because he's very merciful as a Vaishnava. He still wants to deliver everyone. So he gives them a chance. He deals with the most tamasic places on earth, and also the most tamasic creatures. And not every person would be able to do that and untouched, remain untouched by those lower modes. We don't like to preach in those places like the pubs and prostitute houses and the slaughterhouses. It's very contaminated environment. Yet devotees that are empowered sometimes go to such places to reclaim the most fallen conditioned souls. Uh, like Jagai Madhai. So that was Lord Nityananda and Haridas Thakur's business. And Srila Prabhupada pretty much did the same thing. He went to the most strange places on earth, um, sometimes arranged by his own disciples, to the rock concerts and to the hippie places where people were naked and so many things, and on drugs, intoxicated. He started, in a pier in Pennsylvania, in Butler. It was very quiet. He went to New York. Places he started first were not working. Then he went to Bowery, where people were completely on drugs, intoxicated. The bums were here and there. And still, Srila Prabhupada was able to find those who are actually genuine seekers, just got lost. Like Srila Prabhupada explains here in the purport that, you know, those such searches, genuine searches, because they are under illusory energy of the Lord, and they're conditioned. They actually, it doesn't lead them to anywhere. They're just bumping around here and there, being kicked by the material energy like a ball floating on the soccer field. It just flies there, here and there, here and there, and trying to search, but because he doesn't know of the Supreme Lord, he doesn't know the energies of the Lord and how they work on those energies. Such persons just get lost and actually entangled more and more in this material creation. So this is a situation I think every one of us, before meeting devotees, or the knowledge or the books or something from the mantra, we were a little bit lost. Even if we did this, I was certainly searching, and searching for so many schools and meditation places and yoga places and retreats, all sort of retreats, and reading esoteric books and even practicing Christianity. At a certain degree, I just couldn't find the answers. Just sometimes this lacking of philosophy was just devastating, and the empirical knowledge that people were exhibiting was very, very sentimental, in my opinion. even though I liked the idea that something is there beyond, but I couldn't find those answers in any of those schools or places. And so I ended up doing the same things, right? The same things that everybody does. School, university, on all the Kali Yuga activities, not all, luckily for me, but some. And so, you just get more and more entangled and contaminated. That's all that happens in the Kali Yuga, especially in the material world. But Krishna says here in Bhagavad Gita, Davihesh Gunamai Mamamaya Duratya, this is my divine energy, and only through me, if you surrender unto me, I can very easily relieve you from this, influence. So it would come to the point that we have to surrender to the Lord. Srila Prabhupada finishes the purport with this sentence, but who can surrender to the Lord? It's actually not so easy. It's easy in one sense and difficult in the other sense. The difficulty is that if you continue committing sinful activities, you will not be able to surrender to the Lord, because you'll not be able to misidentify yourself with the body, not misidentify, like identify yourself from the body. That's where Bhagavad Gita starts. Dhritarashtra vacha dharmakshetra kurukshetra samaveta yutsava mamaka padamachava kima kurvata sanjaya. Krishna, Dhritarashtra says what my sons are doing and what son of Kwanzaa are doing. So he started to distinguish, who is mine? And Srila Prabhupada really condemns this as the biggest obstacle on the devotional path. Later on, Arjuna will be doing this absolutely same mistake in the same chapter, in this chapter 1. He's saying in a verse 29, 29 or 28, just a second. Yeah, 28. He says, Arjuna Vacha, Drishtvemam svajanam Krishna yayutsum samupasthitam siddhanti mama gatrani mukham cha parishushati. Arjuna said, my dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body quivering and my mouth drying up. Same thing, Arjuna right there standing in front of Krishna, falling into that same illusion. My relatives, my friends. Why? And Prabhupada really condemns this spirit. He says, why is this my own thing? Everything is my own. Krishna, they all are Krishna's. There's no such thing as my own, just because of the blood relationship or some other relationship, friend relationship. Whatever is close to my body, we think, okay, this is a special category. Everyone is Krishna's. And until we understand that, there will always be wars and conflicts and all those misunderstandings that are going on in material world. Because the devotee doesn't distinguish like that. Devotee sees the spirit soul and the connection that Krishna is connected. Everyone is connected to Krishna. They're all Krishnas. And because they're all Krishnas and I'm connected to Krishna, these are all my brothers. All of them. And this is a problem in the beginning of illusion, and that's where we are getting entangled. What Prabhupada says here, the Prabhupada also, I find it immediately, but he said there, the living entity thus becomes entangled in fruitive activities in this material world, by transmitting from one body to the other. Because of this misidentification with the body, and it's a very strong identification, even though we have. So how to transcend this bodily concept of life? Well, the only thing how to do it is to be outside of the influence of the modes of material nature, and this is only possible by surrendering to the Lord, and this is only possible if we start to behave like human beings. Now, to behave like human beings, we have to start practicing the four regulative principles of freedom. Freedom from what? Freedom from the bodily concept of life. Freedom from being pushed by the modes of material nature, especially mode of Rajaguna and Tamaguna. So those four principles we all know. It's no intoxication, no meat eating, no illicit sex, no gambling. right? So all of them are actually intoxicants, and they all actually influence us in such a way that we forget about the time, we forget about the values of life, and it destroys our mental, physical health, and it keeps us very deep in this illusory state, very deep. So from that very deep state, it's impossible to raise above. So spiritual master Balaram kills few demons only, rest are done by Krishna. And in Vrindavan, those two demons are associated with Tamaguna and Rajaguna. That's what spiritual master does. He kills the Rajaguna and Tamaguna in a disciple by training him, by engaging him in devotional service, by developing those habits to eat and honor only what is prasadam, what is offered to the Lord, and nothing else. If you do experiment with your life like that, you own a very razor sharp blade. If you honor only what's offered to Krishna, your consciousness will be sharp. You'll be really Krishna conscious. You will not be bothered by the lusty desires or any other desires, especially if you eat food which has been cooked by non-devotees and cooked especially grains and stuff like that. This is a horrible influence on your consciousness. You'll get karma from that. You'll get unnecessary desires which are not yours, which will bother you for days, and you'll be struggling to digest that. So, if devotee wants to become serious about his devotional life, he has to really take shelter of those four principles of regulative freedom, as well as the Shastra and process of Shravanam Kirtanam. If he doesn't do so, he'll be tortured. Instead of easy, how Krishna says himself, but those who have surrendered to me can easily cross beyond that ocean of nescience. It will become very difficult. So we can choose. We want an easy escape or a difficult escape, or we don't want to escape at all. What's our desire? And the problem is that desire, if we're under influence of mode of Rajaguna and Tamaguna, we cannot even desire properly. Our desires are not our desires. They're being just pushed on us. Sometimes, of course, they're direct from our desires from previous life. But if we met the devotees, it's such a great opportunity to change and transform our desires to Krishna desires, because actually the soul has desires only to serve Krishna. So if you connect with that inner desire, the proper desire, through the proper sangha and association of devotees, you'll become liberated from these sufferings. Not only you become liberated from the sufferings, which actually even Lord Shiva can do, but you'll be actually experiencing bliss in devotional service, going back to Godhead. That Lord Shiva cannot do himself. As an Advaita Acharya, he's calling Lord Chaitanya, please come and inundate this world with constant bliss of devotional service. I cannot do that. I'm Sadashiva. I'm a limb of Vishnu. I'm even more exalted, actually, position than Lord Shiva. Anyway, we're going to go to the details, but he's a Sadashiva, he's a limb of Vishnu, and even he can liberate the whole world, but he cannot give this pure devotional service to the Lord, especially in those highest rasas. And so he's asking, please, Lord Chaitanya, please come. But he's roaring in worship. He just call him, and he had to descend. He had to reciprocate to this most purest calling of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So now we have this opportunity. What are we going to do with this? Why are we following those regulative principles? Actually, each of these principles is connected with the four most important qualities of a human being. This is being merciful, being truthful, being austere, and truthfulness, austerity, mercifulness, and
Cleanliness.
cleanliness. Thank you. See, that's what I'm struggling with cleanliness. So those four, and each of them are corresponded. So by cultivating this kind of habit or lifestyle, we're developing that quality. But we're not going to develop it just like that because I'm a vegan or vegetarian, now I'm automatically merciful. No, it has to be a conscious understanding why I'm doing this. Why this? But you have to be educated. You have to process that. You have to consciously accept why I'm doing this. Because if you're just gonna do it on the mercy of Lord Chaitanya for say 3-5 years, that's fine. But then there will be a moment that your ethics and morals will be tested, and those qualities will not be exhibited. And when they will not be exhibited, you may end up, incurring more sin. like little boy Shringi did. Little boy Shringi, he was a Brahmana by birth. He was trained as a Brahmana. He was given all the mantras, all the education. So he was in process of, he was following all the regulated principles. He was developing those qualities. But when Maharaj Parikshit came and he misunderstood that the rishi was actually indeed in samadhi, and he was thinking that he just imitated and didn't want to receive the lower Varna person in his house and give him the water, he misunderstood because of the Lord's illusory energy, but also because externally he was tired and he was really thirsty, and so those material obstacles didn't. His consciousness was not sharp enough to easily identify what's going on. And so he garlanded him with his dead snake and went out. Immediately he started to repent. He started thinking, maybe he was in samadhi. Why did I do that? So Vaishnava is very, very sincere. So he immediately already punished himself in this uh, repentance. Yet when Shringi found out from his boys with whom he was playing with that that's what happened to his father, what happened to him? He immediately lost all those four qualities of being merciful, truthful, clean, and etc. How? What did he do? He said, I'll show you. He started first of all to abuse him with words. These, dogs should be guarding the, the, the huts outside. What do they think? They can go in the master's house anytime and feast on this from the same table. Who are they? Lord Krishna left, and these imitators uh, in so-called kshatriyas are, and so forth. So he was really, really bad in words. And he said, I'll show you to his boys. He started to show off. He said, I'll show you. I'll take this into my own hands. Now beware that, don't beware. Behold my power, my prowess. He started to show that I'll show you. Being truthfulness means also being just. He has to understand who he is dealing with. Brahman is supposed to protect kshatriyas. They're actually hired by Varna, not just because they're hired. They actually, the consciousness are more elevated, and so they are given protection and guidance to those who are ruling and protected physically. So, but he abused his position and started to condemn and curse a saintly king. So he didn't exhibit this truthfulness quality. He didn't do the just thing. He started to abuse the one who is actually weaker. Kshatriya is very strong, but actually, according to Varna, he's weaker position. So he has to give protection, but he didn't. Then he was angry. His eyes, explained, they got very red. He said, I'm gonna, he touched the water of the Kaushuka river, and with anger, he made the curse that he will be bitten by the snake in 7 days. So that anger is the opposite quality of mercy. You cannot be merciful when you're angry. And so like this, so he was, he lost one quality after the other in this process. And when he came to his father and father went to external consciousness, he said, oh, my son, what did you do? He said, your intelligence is not yet developed. By saying your intelligence is not yet developed, what he means that your qualities are not yet developed. Because your qualities of mercifulness, truthfulness are not yet developed, you cannot exhibit them properly and you incur sin. Now look, see what you've done. This monarchy, this saintly monarchy will be destroyed. There will be, uh, rogues and thieves plundering. They will be stealing animals and women. We'll end up incurring sin. Not just you, me. I'm your spiritual master. I'm your father. I also incur the sin. What to do? He started to repent. The boy started to cry. He started to pray to Supreme Personality of Godhead. Please excuse this boy. He's unintelligent. He was just a boy. And like that. So we don't want that to happen to us. We want to practice those four regulative principles so they're developed to the stage of the four qualities of a human being. The reason Srila Prabhupada quoted Chanakya Pandit quite often, one of Prabhupada's disciples asked him, Prabhupada, you quoting Chanakya Pandit, are those spiritual instructions? Prabhupada says, no, this is just moral. The moral is important because this is the platform from which human being operates. Srila Prabhupada, Satsvarup Das Goswami Maharaj made a nice list of the most quoted Srila Prabhupada Chanakya Pandit's most quoted, most of the quotes, where he was teaching us how to actually operate as a human being. Like, for example, he was saying that one has to see the assets or the the tangible assets of other people as a rubbish on the street. In other words, rubbish is something I throw away. I'm not interested in it. So I'm not examining, ooh, this guy has such a car, he must be a rich devotee. Coming to someone else's house, oh, such a nice stove, oh, such a nice that. I don't have that. So envy. No, we don't look at the others' possessions like something to exhibit or experience envy. We just look at it as rubbish, not interested. I'm just happy for what Krishna gives me and grateful, and that's it. If it gives me more, that's fine. I'll use it in Krishna's service. It doesn't give me more, I'm satisfied. I can live on the street, under the tree, no problem. I can, but a devotee can. So, number one. Number two, looking at every woman as a mother apart from your wife. Don't be that lusty person that just womanizing a hunter consciousness. Just treat them respectfully. Woman, a mother means I'm not looking away and not talking, oh, there's a woman passing by, oh, what to do, I have to hide in the jungle. Not like that. A mother means respect, means gentleness, means helping, means so many things. A very elevated position, a guru, Mother is a guru also. First guru. A very respectful position. So this is number two. What's number three? Who remembers? Western Chanakya Pandits. I remember. Okay. So number three, Chanakya Pandit says, I have to quote it. There's actually even in Sanskrit. Just a second. Prabhupada is. It's interesting that Hitapadesh, those great ancient stories of great India in Hitapadesh, Prabhupada learned them by heart. So he didn't only quote the translations; he quoted Sanskrit also as he was quoting. So he says, Maitrivat paradareshu paradravishu kloshatatvatman vat sarva bhuteshu yapashyati sa pandita. An educated person is one who sees people's property as garbage on the street, deals with others as he would like them to deal with him. So sorry, this was number two. I said it's number three, but this is a simple biblical, Abraham times truth. Don't deal with others in a way that you don't want them to deal with you. Simple as that. Because if I don't want somebody to steal from me, what would I steal? If I don't want, like this, if I don't want them to harm me, what would I harm? Just a very simple mindset, really, for anyone to understand. Because, if we're conscious of our body and its comfort, so it's very easy to understand what would be a disturbance to others. And so empathy can be regulated. And then, yes, see every woman except his wife as a mother. So this is just one, but there are so many others, right? Get rid of the debts, because it's like you have to get rid of the three things immediately: the debt, the fire, and what else? The debt, the fire, and illness. Because they all are destroying your life. This is both, all three are actually urgent and important. Right? And like this, those basic principles. So Prabhupada was often quoting them, so he was doing two things simultaneously. One, he was trying to make us a human beings, because if you're not human being, you cannot surrender to the Lord. See the connection where I'm getting at? You cannot surrender to the Lord if you're not a human being Having those 4 qualities, developed 4 qualities. Why? Because you will be affected by the anger, like little boy Shringi did. He has not yet developed those qualities, so he could easily be affected by the anger, misinterpret the situation, destroy the key. This is what happens today world. In a Old Testament, it says an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Why does it say that? Because when Balaram was playing the chess and he was cheated, and the other guy was smiling, Balaram took his fist and get his teeth out because he was smiling inappropriately, right? When Rukmi was cheating. So he didn't kill him. He didn't slay him, although he could. He's a supreme personality God. It's different, but still, he exhibited that principle: an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. You showing your teeth inappropriately, you're smiling at something of some adharma that's going on. So, no teeth. What's happening today? So this Old Testament principle is not just to encourage revenge. It's not about that. It's actually showing the principle that if you've done some misdeed, your punishment should be accorded. Like the karma law, it's very precise. There's no mistakes there. You deserve what you get, what you deserve, like that. But what happens to the human beings today? My false ego gets insulted. I'll destroy the whole world. Get the atom bomb here. I'm ready. I've been insulted. This is crazy. So Prabhupada says, what is this? Education means morals. He was actually fond of Gandhi, actually, even though from the spiritual level, sometimes he would diminish his position. But as a person who was, walking the talk in terms of living the moral life as a leader, and in that way, his preaching was not different to his actions, and that's why he was powerful, and that's why he was successful also. Because that's what's the leader's most important position. But not just leaders. Remember, leaders, his father is a leader, a teacher is a leader, any famous person is a leader. Anyone who has influence has a leader, and everybody can influence. We're not ants. Even ants can influence, but we're not ants. We were human beings, and so we need to develop those qualities in order to surrender to the Lord. And once we surrender to the Lord, it becomes so easy. Everything becomes so easy. We'll not be bothered by the three modes of material nature. We'll become immunized, and so we will become a perfect lady and gentleman in a true sense. A Vaishnava is a perfect lady and gentleman. That means they will never behave in a immoral way or like that. They'll be sensitive. It's not that they will be, the pure devotees don't make mistakes. The devotees that are, in process and sincere, they may make mistakes. Sometimes they may behave immorally, but that's an accident. It's not a purposeful thing. In Bhagavad Gita, what it says about, you have to see as a sadhu the one who is committing even abominable actions. Yes, but those abominable actions are accidents. They're mistakes due to the past, sinful past or something. It's not the purposeful thing. Otherwise, it's an offense to the holy name, and Vaishnavas are guarding consciously against the offenses of the holy name. The 10th offense, I not holding to the material attachments because I received so many instructions in that matter. So I'm not consciously holding to those. I'm doing the reverse. I'm trying the reverse. So this is very important. All of this whole subject matter of how to surrender and how to serve the Lord is extremely important. And we get this guidance by Lord Shiva, by other Mahajans, by our spiritual masters, and by Shastra. So much knowledge to benefit from. So the only request of this class is, please let us be more serious and sincere. Today I was asked about certain practices in devotional service. This morning one devotee was asking me, this devotee eats this and this devotee eats that, and I don't know what should I eat because I don't understand. It's such a diverse community. How shall I practice Krishna consciousness? It depends how serious you want to practice it. Experiment. You can experiment and see how can consciousness be if you don't eat certain things. and if you do eat certain things, like that. All right, I've been talking too long, so I went further in time, didn't leave much time, but if there's any questions first, please ask, maybe we can answer, and then if there's no questions, then we'll open to the comments. So questions going once, going twice, going thrice. Questions, okay, comments are welcome. Sudev Prabhu writes, great illustration of essential truths. Thank you, Prabhu.
Haribo.
Like, yes, Chris, Hare Krishna.
Hi. I didn't ask this question because I'm not sure how to formalize it, but you were speaking to by continuing to associate with non-devotees, you'll begin to get those desires that are not yours. I was just wondering if you could speak a little more to that. How do we, sort of being in this material existence, continue to decipher who is, a non-devotee versus like somebody who might come around eventually, and sort of practice some spiritual consciousness. But yeah, just wondered if you could speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, sure. So in terms of association in Upadeshamrita, Srila Prabhupada gives very precise instructions how Rupa Goswami gives instructions, Srila Prabhupada explains them in purpose, how we shall associate with devotees and non-devotees. With devotees, we associate through Dadati Pratigrihati practice, that we give gifts, we feed and receive prasadam, and we serve and receive and honor prasadam that they give us. And so there's an exchange of gifts, exchange of prasadam, and exchange of confidential mind. So with non-devotees, we are not doing these things in terms of receiving. In terms of giving, we can do that. We should do that because it's a form of preaching. So when we associate with non-devotees, we're supposed to preach, or at least we should not. I mean, if it's regarding work and other situations, we have to be just conscious of how much we receive, and we should guard ourselves. We can chant Hare Krishna in our mind, to counteract this effect. And of course, we come home, we take a shower, and like that, we purify ourselves. So we will always get contaminated in the material world. The question for devotee, because he knows he'll get contaminated, especially in Kali Yuga, he knows how to purify himself or herself, or themselves. So, so that's the idea. So idea, we give Krishna to others, and that's how we associate with them. So at work, it's so easy to actually give prasadam. Everybody likes to eat. And that's a form of preaching, a very nice form. It's a hidden form, a secret weapon. So if we continue doing that, then the colleagues will benefit, and their Krishna consciousness will gradually, slowly be developing. They'll start inquiring, why are you so happy? Why are you so focused? Why are you so successful? Because devotees have to exhibit on 200%. They have to exhibit 100% on devotional part, in their sadhana, in their devotional service, and they have to perform 100% on their material part. That means, they have to be the best. So I was the best salesman in HP at certain point, to create an inquisitiveness in my team. What is this guy doing? How come he can be on the phone with business partners for 5 hours? We can only do 2 or 3. How come he's so focused? Because I didn't take a break for smoke. I didn't take, a break for tea, whatever. I just chanted my rounds before 7 a.m. in the morning, went to work and performed, and went for lunch with colleagues, but I honored prasadam there. My wife cooked, so, I just was immunized all the time. Still, the contamination was there, but at least it was possible. Every situation is different, and depending on what you have in mind, we can discuss in person. I can give you more insight based on your situation. But the general principle is, oh, sorry, yes, Christoph.
No, I was just saying thank you and appreciation.
Okay. Yeah, so the general principles are in Upadeshamrita, very nice principles. You can read just the first 6 instructions. They're very practical. All right, anybody else? So if I just summarize, the points I was, trying to say today were and are that we are affected by the modes of material nature as a conditioned soul. We're trapped. We have no potential the four principles, but only if we receive them in a conscious way. If we just do it for health, so there's so many vegetarians. Hitler was a vegan. So this is not, it's not immediate understanding that if you follow four regs, that you are a human being. Externally you are, internally you may not be. As Shringi has not yet developed the qualities and so incur more sin, we can be in the same problem. So don't judge devotees just superficially don't judge devotees at all, but don't judge devotees just by superficially them, being in the movement for so long and following principle. They have to consciously practice those. They have to understand why they're doing this. And the way you recognize a devotee is by his attachment, pravanam, and kirtanam. That's where his sincerity is. And through that, yes, he can gradually develop the qualities of a human being also. And all the qualities of the demigods will actually manifest in such person eventually because of his surrender, because of him being a devotee, sincere devotee. And that sincerity, so look for the association of those who are sincere in their reading, chanting, morning programs, and devotional activities, the devotional service. That's the symptoms, the chanting of the holy, the taste, his desire to chant offenselessly and focused in chanting. These symptoms you want to look at and associate with such devotees. I thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, deities are just developments. Krishna. Sorry, it's been too quick today. I haven't spoken so much, so I didn't want to overload you. Hare Krishna. Jai Radha Damodar ki jai, Lakshmi Shakin jai, Gaur Sundar ki jai. Jaya Nitai Gora Sundar Nitai Gora Sundar Jaya Gora Hari. Jaya Jaya Krishna Prapti Ho Jai. Guru Bhika Padma Akya Chitake Kore Akya Ana Kore Homani Asha Ana Kore Homani Guru Prasade Purashara Asha Asudani Prabhu Jaya Prabhu Bhavanan Prabhu Bhavanan Prabhupada Prabhupada Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Shri Radha Krishna Gopnath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Mathura Dham Ki Jai Nama Dvipa Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Pur Dham Ki Jai Gita Nagari Dham Ki Jai Gangamaya Munamaya Ki Jai Tulasi Bhakti Dham Ki Jai Samavet Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai Taigo Premanande Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai all glories to Samudruti, all glories to Samudruti, all glories to Samudruti. Rishi Shri Guru Granth Worship. Srila Prabhupada. Let us feed about spiritual master is the only way in which we can attain pure devotion and service. I bow down to his lotus feet and claim all of them. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and attain the mercy of Krishna. My only wish is set my consciousness purified. By the words emanating from his lotus mouth, attachment to his lotus feet with perfection that fulfills all desire. He opens my dark eyes and fills my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord forever. From him ecstatic prema emanates, by him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character, how a spiritual master the ocean mercy. Random the master. O Master, please be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your mercy. Your fame spread all over three. Srila Prabhupada ki. Right. Thank you very much. Movies. Oh, Krishna.